Good morning. Let's go to 1 John chapter 3, 7, and 8. So, my dear children, don't let anyone divert you from the truth. It's the person who acts right who is right, just as we see it lived out in our righteous Messiah. Those who make a practice of sin are straight from the devil, the pioneer in the practice of sin. The Son of God entered the scene to abolish the devil's ways. Let me clarify something. A lot of people read this and be like, well, if you came to take away a sin, then why do you get mad at us when we sin? I'm about to answer your question. Sin is not going anywhere. I'm going to tell you why. Just like how a parent who sticks up for their child's wrong every single time and that child grows up not to have any accountability at all, it's the same thing as with us as God's children. You thought he was going to keep restarting his earth, restarting his creation because y'all make bad decisions? No, he's not. It's sin being in the world still is really just a way to hold us accountable. But the point of Christ, though, was to offer grace and mercy when we do sin. You have to understand, the grace and mercy that we had today wasn't so common back in the Old Testament if you read. The New Testament, he is the New Testament. He's the reason why we can sin over and 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 over again. And Jesus will intervene and intervene and intervene and intervene and intervene and intervene for us. But just because you live in a sinful world does not mean to just make a practice of it and be like, oh, well, I'm going to do this because I know God's going to give me grace and mercy. He's going to forgive me. That's taking it for granted. And when he takes his hands off of you, keep that same energy. But what I'm saying is, don't make a practice. And those who do practice it sin, who don't care, who live their lives, who don't want to live their life the way God wants us to live their life, I'm sorry, the Bible is strict. You are doing the practices of the enemy, whether you know it or not. So my advice to you is just get right with God. He has so much planned for you. He loved you way too much, baby. And if you are ever questioning your worth right now, you are worth dying for.